Hidden in the deep blue waters of the Pacific, there is a country that most people have never heard about. The streets here are calm, locals, kind and welcoming.
When we see people who are outside of our country, we welcome them.
And the nature, well, let's just say that we have never seen anything like this in our lives before.
So in this video, we want to show you both the authentic culture and the beautiful sights of this island nation. But I must warn you, by the end of this video, you will not only have learned about one of the most beautiful countries on earth, but you might also be tempted to book your next holiday right here.
So friends,
welcome to Palau!
And let's start this journey from the biggest city of this country. So we're gonna start our journey today in Koror. It's the biggest population center in Palau, and it's crazy to think that nearly 70% of all residents of this country live right here.
What I was surprised about that Palau is small, but it's actually not as small as I thought. So it's about half of New York City.
Yeah, and when we're talking about how big it is, we're talking about the land size. Because when it comes to people, then Palau has less than 18,000 residents altogether. I love that the car number plates are just 4 numbers. 6003.
So yes, undoubtedly this nation is among the smallest countries on earth. Yet thanks to its stunning nature, there is still thousands of people who want to travel here each year.
But before we head outside of Koror into the places that make Palau truly unique, we first wanted to get like a first taste of the island culture. And of course, what better place to understand local culture than a market?
And just as we were arriving at the Thursday's farmers market, we noticed something strange.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but while walking, like from a couple of different yards, people have just said hello, waved, same with the cars. They drive by and they just smile and wave.
We really didn't expect such an atmosphere from the country's biggest city.
Birds around us are singing, there's insects chirping, flowers. It sort of like releases stress right away. Like you made it to the countryside and you feel that other people think about you. They don't speed past you, they wave, they say hello. Super cool.
However, this warm feeling of being included was nothing compared to what was about to happen.
Ooh, we made it to the market. Maybe like a couple hours too late because it opened at 6.
This event was held in the very center of Koror, in the shadow of a tree that had stood there for hundreds of years.
They're selling fruits, veggies, there's taro, banana, papaya, but also a lot of things that are like woven from palm leaves.
Around us were handcrafts and lively music. But what we didn't anticipate was how the locals would react to our presence there.
Hello, did we take your seat?
No.
You sure?
That's fine.
Oh.
You see, it started with a police officer that out of the blue approached us and gifted us some freshly baked waffles.
If police was like this all over the world.
This is lovely.
And then, just a few moments later,
So we were just walking around on the market and we met Kobe. He's from the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries.
yes, you heard correctly. In just 5 minutes, we had made friends with a government official who was happy to tell us exactly what was going on.
And today is all about food production and food security. So here we have a bunch of different food vendors for fish or anything locally produced. And really, we're trying to promote sustainability here by not relying on export and imports, or imports coming in.
What we saw around us was a perfect example of Palau's culture and the welcoming nature. So I simply could not help but ask,
What makes Palau people so welcoming? Like everybody seems so kind.
Right, yeah. So Palau is a very small island. You can't go to a grocery store and not see a family member. Yeah, but when we see people who are outside of our country, we welcome them because we want to show them how beautiful our islands are, how welcoming our people are. So we gotta treat them as how we treat everyone else here, as family.
this market instantly made us fall in love with the local people. We could feel their warmth and kindness with all of our senses. But of course for us, this event was only just the beginning.
When you're walking on the streets and suddenly a coconut, what do? You film it. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that these poor coconuts are very far from the sea, so their spreading method, which is the ocean, is not really helping them here in the grassland.
Well, but as we quickly discovered, what Liisu just said wasn't actually 100% true. Because in Koror, and in fact the whole nation of Palau, the water is never too far away.
We've made it to a park now, and it's a pretty fun feeling to have a blue, beautiful ocean in a park.
It's completely in the middle of the city.
But let's talk more about the people that live here. The same kind individuals that we've already seen today, because they are quite unique indeed.
So the Palauan people, they are special because, like, imagine that there's like a random island, very remote, in the middle of the ocean that was only inhabited 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Like this region, Oceania, that's the one that was inhabited last on Earth. And that is so wild to me.
And many of them were just like fishermen, and they drove these small boats around into something you have no idea about. And they brought with them a couple of things to grow, like taro and tapioca. And this culture still lives here today.
So for Palauans, the ocean is more than just salty water. For thousands of years, it has fed and sustained them. However, in recent decades, it has presented an even bigger opportunity.
This blue sea is actually why many visitors come here. Like, this country gets about 3 to 4 times more tourists each year than there are people living here.
Tourism, you see, accounts for nearly 50% of the country's GDP. And for this reason, nature protection has become a huge part of the local culture.
Palau is a very small but beautiful island. If you do plan on visiting, please do take care of our islands when you do come. That's very important.
And moreover, without joking, each visitor that enters Palau has to sign a pledge.
I take this pledge as your guest to preserve and protect your beautiful and unique island home.
And although we've traveled around 80 countries,
It's definitely gonna be the first time that I get to write in my own passport. And to experience this nature, there's like 2 main ways. One is just renting a car or getting a driver and going around the island. Many parts of the island here are protected, and we're definitely gonna do it. But before we head out on our own, we decided that we're gonna take a tour as well. And this tour is gonna bring us closer to the sea life, ocean life, and also something called the Rock Islands, which
The Rock Islands.
some people say it's among the most beautiful places on Earth, but we are gonna go and find out ourselves.
like so common to most day tours, our adventure started early in the morning. with a trip to a nearby port.
So the tour that we booked to the most famous place of Palau, the Rock Islands, cost $115 per person.
Plus the permit, which was a one-time payment of $50
Yeah.
per person.
So two of us together were $330 with all the permits and everything. And there's supposed to be food and drink also included.
Yes.
We'll go and see. The boat is coming.
You want medium or not?
It did not take long for the boat to be prepared. And soon we were out on the waves. But straight away you could tell that we were on a tight schedule. Because never before have I wished that our boat had a speed limit. Yet then they appeared. These were the famous Rock Islands. There is more than 200 of them here, and like small green mushrooms, the limestone islets stood out of the water.
Like the top part that's out of the water is like 2-3 meters wider than the base that's actually connected to the ground. The water has been just eroding off the layer over there.
The sight of them was mesmerizing. And to explore them, there are a few different options.
Then just stay here to the boat first. We will prepare the kayak and we will call you. Are you going with me or going kayak?
As you can see, like most of the time in our relationship, Liisu is doing the heavy lifting. The color of the water here, it's so blue and beautiful. Like the whole way we were driving, my mouth was just open, trying to like fathom the beauty of it. You have those green, rocky islands, and then just blue water all around.
Kayaks are the best way to get close and personal with the islands.
It's so freaking hot, but it's very, very beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen water that is that blue, ever.
And from nearby, you quickly understand how much life these small bumps actually support.
Ferns on the side of the rock look super cool, like little carpet. And just absolutely crazy how little it takes for plants to take hold. There's barely any soil, but they've attached to the rock and... Crazy.
But wherever there is more than just bare rock, trees have taken hold.
And here you can really see how the vegetation and greenery goes even to the sandy parts and sandy beaches. It's wild, it's luscious, it's freaking beautiful here.
The real estate out here is in high demand. You can find plants growing in the strangest of places. And so, creating an atmosphere that feels almost unreal. However, just when you think that the water couldn't possibly be more blue, it happens.
So this place here, it's called the Milky Way, and it's because of the white mineral mud on the bottom. You can see the water here is totally like smirky white. It still looks blue and clear, but it's full of this white mineral.
The white mud of the Milky Way is supposed to be good for your skin and make you look younger. Whether it really works, I do not know. But the thing that I am sure about is that most people after the age of 5 do not spend enough time playing with mud. But even after hours on the tour, there was still one thing that we hadn't seen, and that was what was happening beneath the waves. You see, most visitors actually come to Palau for diving as well as the marine life. and each time that we could jump into the water was an absolute bliss. The reef here is home to 385 hard coral species. And from various sharks to eels and even Napoleon wrens, such beautiful and endangered species could be seen around us without renting a scuba gear.
So the tour itself, it was pretty amazing. I haven't been so excited about a tour in a while. Like, the boats were fast, lunch was well organized, and of course the sights. Like, the water here is super clear. Coral is just so healthy.
Sharks were healthy as well.
Sharks were healthy as well, and like, such things just don't happen when you're snorkeling. Like, these are diving things, but even if you don't dive, like you just saw, snorkeling was absolutely amazing here. Wow. But now it's time for like the last part of our video. I am most excited about this because we like to get off the beaten track, we like to discover ourselves, and for that we're gonna rent a car and show you the pristine nature of the island itself.
Morning comes with the early summer light. Curtains sway gently by the window.
On the following morning, I snuck out of the hotel with a clear goal in mind.
So we went with IR Motors, and the owner, the guy with the red shirt there, he's been absolutely charming. Like, doing business with him is like talking to a friend, and for 2 days it cost us about $80, so around $40 a day.
And as I got back to the hotel, Liisu was already waiting.
Sleepyhead, I got the car in the morning. What do you say about our new flashy ride?
The wheel is on the wrong side for this traffic.
I mean the steering wheel.
Yeah.
If you have ever heard a phrase like driving on the wrong side of the street, then here traffic is right-sided, but the wheel is left-sided, so you're on like totally wrong side.
Something is wrong, yes.
Float away.
And therefore, it was time for the thing that I had been longing for. Finally, we could start discovering Palau on our own terms.
So we're leaving Koror Island now, and a bridge should take us to Bubble Top Island, Bubble Town, Bubble Top. But I do have to say, like, it's weird that I'm not sitting in the center of the road. You have to drive by the outer line, and it takes some time getting used to it. But I think that makes it a little bit easier is the fact that the traffic itself, it's very calm. Like, the speed limits here are in miles, and I think the highest speed is like 40 miles an hour, so like 65 kilometers an hour.
What we saw around us was pristine nature. And suddenly, the words of Gobi started to make sense.
A big chunk of Palau is conservation area, so you'll have a lot of places to go visit.
To the left of the roads were green hills covered in lush jungle. To the right, the beautiful blue ocean. Yet whenever we took a break, it quickly became clear what makes Palau so special.
So we just arrived in Melekok, which is like a small coastal village. The water here, well, like everywhere, is crystal clear. There's a little bit of sandy areas on the beach. Here, it's even calmer. There's like one road that runs through the village, and feels pretty nice.
You see, thanks to the remote location, Palau is one of the few places on Earth where you get to experience the true peace and calm in a tropical paradise.
So friends,
Welcome to Palau.
Yes guys, getting up here was not easy. Getting down is even harder.
It's an island full of welcoming locals and ancient history.
Now we've come to the tip of the island because there's supposed to be something 2,000 years old.
Some even say similar to Stonehenge, just at a much more smaller scale. Why this place was built? I think it might have been like a place of worship or like a community center of the first people who arrived to Palau.
Oh, this is a face, look at that.
This is a face.
But above all, I will always remember Palau thanks to its nature.
Such a lovely color.
But also you can see how the waves are breaking like so far from the shore.
This small nation is a living proof that with proper education and leadership, nature protection can actually become part of any culture.
We're big on invasive species and taking care of our islands and food security.
And once it is so, the benefits can be enjoyed by everyone.
Again, we're just in a thicket.
Gardna waterfalls, and this is at the northern part of the island.
And this is definitely a good place to get a feel of the nature and the jungle here.
Hiking in those forests is a truly rewarding experience. They are wild and luscious, beaming with biodiversity. And for those willing to go the extra mile, they offer experiences that will stay with you for a lifetime.
My God, that waterfall, it was like a cherry on top to our whole adventure here in Palau.
Yeah, the time in Palau has been amazing as well, and this is only the first of the tiny island nations that we are planning on visiting.
But one question still remains.
What have we learned today?
First of all, we have learned that size really doesn't matter as long as you're as beautiful as Palau.
We have also learned that even adults like to play with mud.
But perhaps most importantly, we have realized that there still are hidden gems around the world that most people have never heard about. Friends, thank you for watching, and we will see you again in a little bit less than a week. Take care and bye.
Bye!